On July the 1st, both Prince William and Prince Harry will be reunited to unveil the long-awaited statue to Diana, Princess of Wales. It would have been her 60th birthday, and this is the one occasion that both brothers have said they will not miss because it's hugely significant. I think there's an expectation that publicly the brothers will appear to be on the same side, but I think we're overstating it if we think that this one event can somehow bring them together after what has been an extremely fractious few years, and with their relationship still nowhere near what it was. I think from both sides' perspective, they want to be there and to have equal billing, understandably, as Diana's sons. And there's this sense as well that they know that they need to put on a public show of unity, because at the end of the day, they want the event to be remembered for their late mother and not for any sign of acrimony between the two of them. But at the same time, it is a bit tricky, and there have been some tensions behind the scenes which obviously contribute to making what is hoped to be a really positive engagement a little difficult to manage. What would William have to do to extend an olive branch to Prince Harry? Well, I think in the first instance, the welcome to his brother must be warm. At the end of the day, his brother is now visiting William on his own home soil, and therefore I think there is a sense of William needing to be pretty open-armed when his brother comes across from America, not least because they haven't seen each other in the flesh since Prince Philip's funeral, and before then had barely seen each other at all because of the pandemic. But I think there's going to have to be this sense, not least because he is senior in the royal pecking order, of William almost emulating their granny and rising above. Equally, I think, what do we have to expect from Prince Harry? Well, perhaps a degree of magnanimity and pragmatism about his approach. At the end of the day, Harry is the one, along with Meghan, who has sort of been lobbing the grenades here. So Harry, I think, as well, on an occasion like this, where it is solemn and it requires sort of reflective thought, Harry needs to look as if he's also in reconciliation mode and not being combative. Another important factor, I guess, as well, is kind of not having any briefings or counter briefings ahead of the event, which could spoil things. In Harry's eyes, what does he need to hear from William? He perhaps needs to hear from William that they have taken on board the couple's criticisms of the way that they were managed within the royal family, and the fact that they felt that they weren't supported, and amends needs to be made by somebody, whoever the royal was that made the allegedly racist remark. It seems unlikely, however, that the Duke of Cambridge, having said to the TV cameras that we are very much not a racist family, is going to sort of admit to any wrongdoing on that front, because that's something that the royal family seem reluctant to accept.
We're very much not a racist family.
We've also got the issue of the bullying investigation ongoing. These claims against Harry and Meghan that they've treated staff badly are currently being probed by people within Kensington Palace, and therefore, again, that's kind of clouding the issue. Equally, one gets the impression from Prince William's side that he needs to hear from Harry that there aren't going to be further leaks and there aren't going to be further criticisms of William's behaviour, the Prince of Wales's behaviour. On the other hand, there's an expectation that William will expect Harry to make amends for his own behaviour. He's been outspoken, he's been hugely critical of the institution that William will one day rule over, and therefore I think there's a sense of disappointment that Harry has turned his back on the family that he's grown up in. There are obviously aides and people in the background, and probably not least the Queen, who is a conflict-avoiding person by nature, sort of wanting that relationship to be repaired, but it's easier said than done. You have two brothers who have always been rather competitive against each other, be it on the polo field or in regards to the headlines that they garner for their charitable work. You then throw into the mix the idea that the Duke of Cambridge, as a future Prince of Wales and then future King, is under an obligation and duty, really, to ensure the future survival of the monarchy in the face of attacks from America. And so there is enormous pressure on William as a part of that machinery to stand up for the firm. And yet, because Harry has rejected that way of life and chosen a different path in America, he's also under an obligation to almost justify his own decision-making. So you see Harry had said to Tom Bradbury those years ago that they were on different paths, and those paths continue to diverge, seemingly, as the brothers get further and further apart in what they're doing. And when paths diverge, you then start to wonder, well, how on earth can they come back together? And I think the answer to that is time and discussion. So let's make no mistake, this is a hugely significant and important engagement for both of the brothers. But I think it's going to be tricky away from the cameras for them to repair a relationship that, in some respects, does seem irretrievably broken.